Time to clock in at the podcast factory. This week,
we'll be checking in with Sleepy Streamies, chatting about the Japanese kabuki film Kokuho, the sci-fi revenge thriller Redux Redux, and the new Glenn Powell dark comedy How to Make a Killing.
And for TV, we'll be discussing season 2's, this is a fun word, penultimate episode of Hijack.
That's right. Let's get into it. This is
We Should Pod That, episode 26.
We should watch that with Ashley and Sushi. Feel the vibes, it's a night so lush.
Okay, guys, it's time for Sleepy Streamies. If you're new here, this is the segment where I attempt to watch a show at bedtime for multiple nights in a row, and then I report back to you on how effective it is at putting me to sleep. This week's selection is Shamaran. I watched it 4 nights in a row. All I know is it's Turkish and it's got snake people. And each night I press play while trying to fall asleep. And each morning I recorded what I remembered from the previous night. So I'll be going through my observations. And I can tell you, spoiler alert here, this thing is very effective at making me fall asleep. I mean, like medically effective, like prescription strength television.
Wow, okay.
So it's on Netflix, guys. All right, let's get into it. Night 1. So on night 1, what I recall was it opened with a voiceover. They got these snake people and they're waiting for a savior. Okay. So yeah, snake people. That's a very, cool concept. Then
is that like lizard people?
I honestly don't know because I didn't manage to stay awake long enough to see them. Yeah.
Well, that's good, I guess.
So yeah, after we get this intro, we see this very serious man standing on a cliff. Looks like he's contemplating stuff. And you're like, hey, buddy, don't jump. But then, he jumps and he lands on a rock and he dies. But then he reanimates and he looks kind of disappointed. So I thought, okay, wow, mythology, snakes, cool. And I made it approximately 2 to 5 minutes before falling asleep.
That's pretty good.
That's elite numbers, my friend. So night 2, there's a lady in a car. She goes to an old man's house. I think it's her dad, maybe her granddad, or just like
some old dude.
I don't know. Yeah, like an elderly snake man person.
Yeah.
And he's clearly done something wrong to her. She's like, you did something. And he's like, I didn't. And then it remains unresolved.
So she was wrong somehow. That's all.
Yeah. And I fell asleep at 2 minutes in. This night. Yeah. However, fun thing, I did wake up briefly in the middle of the night. And when I looked at my screen, the woman was doing some crazy shaking around thing like she was possessed.
Whoa.
It kind of looked a little bit like, are you familiar with the dancing technique whacking?
No.
It's kind of like, I think it's like an offshoot from Vogue. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought it was like the jerk or like.
No, but it's sort of like a lot of, it's like a lot of arms flailing around from the elbow to the hand. It's,
so like the wave?
I got to show you. It's more aggressive than that, but it's Vogue adjacent.
Maybe you could make it the cover.
Yeah. So yeah, this snake lady's doing a possessed whacking thing. And that's something I do look for in a Sleepy Streamy, that if you wake up in the middle of the night, you're going to see something weird.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. So moving on to night 3. So she gets to a motel. She's very bummed because she's like, I asked for a bath in my room. And they're like, it's not available. The guy who had the bath, he's still there. And she's like, well, I really wanted a bath. And then I'm thinking, is this because snakes require special bathing techniques? Like, is she a snake lady and she needs the bath for some sort of snake cleansing or ritual purpose, But I never found out because, again, I didn't make it far enough to see the snake people.
Well, maybe it's like, how some people have reptiles. I think it's with reptiles or like some other animals where they got to have the bottle of water to spray mist on them.
This is
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
thinking.
Is that like kind of what's going on? Oh, okay, cool.
But I don't know
Makes
if it
sense.
happened. But anyway, she's
Oh,
just in
good.
this crappy motel with no bath. And then it cuts to a woman in a fancy dress lying face down on a bench in her home. And I'm like, oh no, she's dead. But no, someone's painting her portrait.
Oh, geez.
There's like this iconic looking young girl, like, early 20s with a very chunky bob and sunglasses. She looked awesome. I was looking forward to finding out her story. Guess what? I never did because I never made it past 10 minutes total on the show. So yeah, over 3 nights, 10 minutes.
Wow.
That is impressive.
Cool.
So now we got night 4. Night 4, the lady is revealed to be an assistant professor. Okay. She gives some lecture and the students are like, wow, she's good at professoring. Yeah, she's cool. And then we cut to an old man, the one from earlier, and he's just staring at a wall for a super long time. Like, we'll come and check on him. He continues to stare at a wall. Honestly, it's like, okay, is this performance art? What is this guy doing? And then just all of a sudden he gets some mystery envelopes and he goes and gives them to the lady. What's in them? I don't know because I was unconscious before she opened them.
Yeah.
So it was 5 minutes, this viewing, that I made it through.
Cool.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, okay, in conclusion, after 4 nights of attempting to watch Shamaran before bed, here is what I know.
Okay.
And I know this solely from the opening monologue and the description. There's snake
and the
people.
bits that you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then I know there seems to be some unresolved family trauma.
Okay.
I know that baths are important.
Yeah.
Staring at walls might be like this show's character development. I don't know. And yeah, did I understand the plot? No. But is it effective? Devastatingly. So, yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's your final Sleepy Streamy score. On the Sleepy Streamy scale, plot retention, 2 out of 10. Snake confusion, 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Unconsciousness achieved,
Wow.
9 out of 10, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So overall sleep effectiveness score, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's honestly really effective. Now, is it my favorite type of Sleepy Streamy? No, in a way, because it wasn't weird enough as I was falling asleep.
How would you compare this to a reboot from last week?
I preferred Reboot, man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I like seeing bad graphics. I like seeing bad.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think you woke up more in the middle of the night or were awake more for Reboot than this
Yeah,
one?
probably.
So there's probably some element of it that draws your attention enough to it. To
That's
keep you
true. That's
awake for a
true.
little
That's
bit.
the downside.
See, that's the thing. I feel like the more that we analyze this is like a sleep study in some kind of ways, man.
Indeed.
Like, that you're not interested enough in snake people, but you are interested in bad graphics.
I am. I love them.
Okay.
So, all right, there we have it. Sleepy Streamies. Let me know what you guys think if you watch stuff to fall asleep. And Sush, do you have any highlights from your falling asleep watches this week?
No, man. You know I don't really sleep. I mean, it's the same thing. Like I said last week.
Yeah.
I mean, if I put stuff on, it's usually like X-Files or what was the other one? Portlandia.
Oh yeah.
Portlandia has been like my study go-to for a while. I'm just like a creature of habit. I think a lot more so than compared to Ashley. So while she may have like this whole process of Sleepy Streamies that rotates shows, I'm just like, hey, to like, how many clicks do I need to get to Portlandia? Is it less than actually having to look through stuff?
Oh my god!
Probably because it's in my recently watched.
I see.
Or keep watching or whatever it is on Netflix. So I think that's most of it. And I do have a Netflix button on the remote. 2 or 3 clicks and I'm there.
Excellent. That's a good tip. And you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and add an extra Sleepy Streamy tip on my end. If you're watching Netflix, Guys, you can adjust the playback speed.
Oh.
So my thing I do every night, I watch it at 0.775. Okay. So that's slow enough for things to look like, like a little slow and weird. Yeah. Also, the subtitles are slower. So like sometimes reading subtitles helps me fall asleep. Okay. So, cool. Yeah. All right. Well, sleep on, my friends. And next, we are moving on to movies. Okay, our first movie is Kokuho, and it's this lush, decade-spanning Japanese epic. It's directed by Lee Sang-il, stars Ryo Yoshizawa alongside Ryusei Yokohama and Ken Watanabe. And this movie dives headfirst into the ultra-traditional, intensely disciplined world of kabuki theater. So the story follows two young men whose lives become intertwined through ambition, rivalry, and legacy as they train within this like centuries-old performance art. They've got to deal with brutal expectations and personal sacrifice. And it tells this really gorgeous story about an art form that I was excited to learn about, and more specifically, their roles playing the female characters within kabuki, because it was illegal for female actors to play female characters. And this movie, I think it was pretty spectacular. I mean, I went in knowing almost nothing beyond the fact that it followed, boys training to perform female roles in kabuki. And I kind of assumed just going into it that it would lean into conversations about gender and sexuality. But I was totally wrong. And that's one of the reasons I think Western audiences should especially see it. It doesn't play out the themes that you would expect because you're learning about a totally different culture. I think what the film does really beautifully, and something that I thought is cool, is you're learning more about the art of kabuki while the young actors are learning more about becoming kabuki performers. Yeah. So it gives you really interesting insight into the art, and it's a smart way to structure the story. And whether you know about kabuki or you don't, you're giving an organic way in. I mean, and the process is amazing. Like I know very much basics about kabuki. Typically, I've seen like really old footage, black and white or whatever. And it's gorgeous and colorful. And I mean, the movie is so immersive. The music is gorgeous. The sound design is fantastic. And you just feel so placed inside of the world. I mean, it was incredible. And the pace is really great. It really takes its time to show you how challenging this is, to show you the art, but to also get to know the characters. Mm-hmm. The direction feels super confident. It spans decades, but it doesn't feel rushed. Doesn't rely on emotional shortcuts at all. I often, Sush knows this, I will often, when we're watching a movie, like lean over and whisper, oh, I think this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm always trying to guess what's going to be the outcome. But this is a movie where everything that I guessed what would happen, it was wrong. Mm-hmm. Because the movie doesn't deal in like storytelling cliches. It feels very much like how a normal person's life can be all over the place. Yeah. They can be in completely different careers. They can look completely different. It's like basically we live many lives within one life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you really saw this here. And the costumes, oh my God. Yeah, I just adored it. I don't know. What do you think, Sush?
Well, I basically went into this movie blind. I had no awareness of neither the director nor writer, since I haven't seen any of their prior work. As far as the cast goes, I think the only lead I recognized without having to look up filmography was Ken Watanabe. Mm-hmm. I think the only other actor I had awareness of outside of this movie was Ryo Yoshizawa, who plays Kokuho in this movie, who I might have seen in a Kamen Rider movie before, but I can't say for sure. But yeah, we caught this trailer maybe once or twice before other movies we've seen recently, and that made a huge impression on me. I personally thought the visuals I saw in the trailer were really beautiful. I'll go into them a bit more when I talk about my thoughts after seeing it. But yeah, I just felt like the offering was a bit different from what we've seen lately, at least in our area, in the Chicagoland area, theaters as far as Japanese film.
Yeah.
Like, I think most of the Japanese film we've been seeing by us has been kind of limited to like slice of life, drama, comedies, or like action films, and like maybe sci-fi. But I can't recall like any Japanese period films as of late.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah. But after I saw this, I did some research and I found out it was based on a 2018 novel of the same name by Shuichi Yoshida. And in trying to learn more about the production of the film, I found that there's some differences, which I won't go into detail about, so I don't spoil anything. And also because I just didn't bother to note them. But yeah, there's some differences from the book. But I think the biggest takeaway was like the major effort behind adapting the novel and then cutting down the initial cut of the film, which apparently ran about 4.5 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I personally thought that this was one of the most impressive aspects of the film, given that the theatrical ended up being almost 3 hours long. And I remember noting that I didn't feel like this movie even felt as long as some like 2-hour films I've seen.
That's true.
If there's any lack of clarity around that statement too, just understand that I mean that as a compliment. Like it just breezed by. Yeah, the acting and especially the leads in this movie were amazing. I absolutely have to give high praise to Ryo Yoshizawa for his portrayal of Kokuho throughout the majority of the movie. Both him and Ryusei Yokohama as the two main characters of this movie were amazing. Even if they might not think so, as a viewer, I believe the 1.5 years that these two dedicated to rehearsing Kabuki was felt in the end product. Granted, I don't know much about Kabuki at all, but nothing in the performances made me feel like anything was really lacking.
Oh,
like there was any lack of skill that like didn't make the character believable.
Yeah, so precise and so mannered, but it flows so beautifully. You can tell a lot of work was put into it.
And outside the two of them, Ken Watanabe is easily the actor I'd credit with contributing the most to this movie after them, given that he was probably the lead that had the most actual Kabuki stage performance after the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember the lion dance, there was one where he was performing pretty much the whole thing. But yeah, beyond that, I just feel like he's really the glue that holds a lot of the story together, especially in the earlier part of the film. And what's starting to feel like a recent theme with the movies we've seen, this movie was just visually stunning.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Like, we thought Wuthering Heights and Dracula from the last few weeks were good, but like this movie came in and was like holding my drink.
Yeah.
Everything is done to perfection. Like we mentioned, the Kabuki performance by the leads, incredible. But it wasn't just the acting and the performance. It was like the costumes, being able to see the production of the Kabuki performance as a whole, like the sets and the lighting, both on the stage performances and off. I haven't felt as immersed as I have when I was watching this movie for a long time, especially for a period movie.
Yeah.
And especially one whose story spans actually like several decades.
Yes.
I'm no historian, but as a viewer, we can sometimes still feel when something about the production of a movie or a scene is too modern. But there was never a moment in this movie where I felt like anything was off like that. Yeah. Honestly, I could pause on a frame or isolate a clip of this movie and analyze it. And I'm almost positive that nothing except maybe like the clarity of the picture would make me believe that it was from some time other than the one it claimed to be from. I heard this had a one-night only exclusive screening in IMAX in select theaters like back in January. And while I'm really jealous we didn't get one out here. I don't think seeing it in a non-premium format in any way takes away from the experience. It's just well made.
I mean, it's just gorgeous. Every aspect of it is so precise and colorful and bold and immersive. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And I don't see many historical dramas to begin with, and even less foreign historical dramas, but I think this movie is more than accessible for audiences that might not often watch movies that are similar to this, mainly because, like you mentioned, this movie almost has the feel of an Asian epic, kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but obviously more rooted in the real world. So with that said, I'm going to go into my ratings.
Sure.
For enjoyment, I gave this a 5.
Ooh, your first 5.
For quality, I gave this a 5.
Oh my God.
This is a perfect movie for me. I love this movie. I know I say I love a lot of movies and TV shows, but this movie is a complete standout. And it's like one of those movies that comes along maybe once every 5 to 10 years where I really felt like it was a blessing to be able to just experience it in my lifetime. There's so much that was enjoyable to me from this, but I think the strongest aspects were really getting to learn some basics about Kabuki, seeing the span of the decades, the characters live through, reflected in the surroundings, and providing a real unbiased look at Eastern masculinity.
Yes.
I knew nothing about Kabuki going into this movie, so finding out that it was completely comprised of male actors was, of course, a big revelation. But beyond that, I think just the level of commitment in delivering a performance to portray them with accuracy, maybe not in like the actual mannerisms and movements, but the precision and the specificity of them, like with many other Japanese art forms, was highly enjoyable. I love seeing the passing of time and the changes. Being an Asian immigrant who came here as a baby, I don't recall many experiences seeing Asia in films or TV that weren't stereotypical depictions when I was younger. So it was cool to see how Japan evolved through the 60s to the modern day. And obviously, one of the coolest aspects of this movie as an Asian immigrant, I think, was the portrayal of Eastern masculinity. Like, sure, this is a Japanese movie, so I'm sure much of the accuracy was due to the people making the movie, putting their own experiences into it. But again, the last aspect I mentioned, I just wasn't used to it. Kabuki in some eyes can obviously be seen as a very effeminate form of art or performance. But that wasn't the impression or acknowledgement that you'd get from this movie.
Right.
Except for maybe the history as to like why men were the only ones allowed to perform it. Instead, it's just the type of theater and part of the culture, void of any reflection of the performer's sexuality. I appreciate that this shows that Eastern masculinity probably has more to do with the duty or responsibility a man feels in relation to their partner or family, rather than fitting any sort of framework that deals with personality or interests. So as far as quality goes, I obviously already spoke about that a lot, but to reiterate, the visuals, especially Kabuki choreography, set and costume design, were probably the biggest selling point to me.
Yeah.
But outside the Kabuki aspects, the overall acting, real world set designs, costumes, cinematography were also very strong. So again, never a moment where you felt like you were stepping outside of this film when you were watching it. I don't have any related recommendations or anything like that, mostly because this movie is seriously so good.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could replace the experience with anything else. If you can see it in theaters, absolutely do it. But if you can't find it around you, set a notification or something for streaming, because you absolutely have to see this when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. And the portrayal of masculinity and the attitude towards craft were two of the things that I also was really impressed by. And getting into my ratings, it's a double 5, baby. Me too. I think this movie is, I mean, a perfect is a hard word to use, but everything is done with such
there's so much attention to detail
and emotion and specificity, and there's so much. Every word you can tell was obsessed over, you know, and the acting's incredible. It tells a gorgeous story about dedication and the arts and found family and rivalries and beauty. Like, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, just the way it looks is just incredible. I mean, that quality score is really high for both of us, obviously. And it's because it's just firing on all cylinders. Like,
yeah, I think we have a tendency to really nitpick when it comes to quality more than we do enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because it's
two totally different things.
The more measured, it's something that you can kind of put to a number or like point to certain things. It's not just a feeling. So we definitely are more critical about it. So yeah, we don't give that 5 lightly. I'm pretty sure this is like the first one we've given.
I did one for No Other Choice.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. And it really, really recommend you see it. And I wish I could have talked about more of my favorite moments in it, but I feel like almost everything is a spoiler.
Yeah, this is a quality entertainment award, no doubt. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being our favorite movie of the year, even though we're just on February right now.
I know.
But,
and hopefully
it's so strong. Like I said in my ratings, this is a once in every like 5 to 10 years kind of experience.
It's incredible. And it is nominated for makeup and hairstyling at the Oscars.
Awesome.
So I actually don't know who else is in competition, but I'm going to be pissed if they don't win.
Right.
Cool. All right. Moving on. So in a completely different direction, our next movie is Redux Redux. It's a sci-fi thriller about a grieving mom who jumps between parallel universes to hunt down her daughter's killer again and again and again. And in the process, she risks losing her own humanity and reason for living.
Damn.
It's written and directed by the brothers Kevin McManus and Matthew McManus, who you might know from their work on shows like Cobra Kai and American Vandal. Which is one of my faves. And the film stars their sister, Michaela McManus, as Irene Kelly, with Stella Marcus and Jeremy Holm in key supporting roles, blending gritty revenge drama and a multiverse kind of twist. First of all, I love alternate universe or time travel movies. That's sort of fixing something that's been wronged and the implications of different universes and time travel. And what I appreciated here is that the hook isn't so much the sci-fi mechanics. In fact, they almost never talk about the mechanics.
Right.
The real hook is emotional. You know, it's about a mother driven by grief and revenge. So it feels personal rather than being like a puzzle to solve. And I think the acting is really strong. The two leads, Michaela as Irene and Stella Marcus as Mia, have great chemistry together. Their relationship, again, is the emotional backbone of the movie. And I really think Stella, who played Mia, stood out to me. She's so Gen Z and fun. And I really appreciated her performance. And she's very plucky, I would say.
Okay.
Now, I enjoyed it. I like the plot mechanics. The acting was good. But the problem I have is that because I love movies like this so much, I kind of couldn't turn off the part of my brain that is comparing it to those movies.
Gotcha.
So technically, it's alternate universe, not time travel.
Yeah.
But there's so much crossover, my brain puts them into the same category. So
yeah, I had to make sure in my notes I had to change.
Yeah, I did
I think
too.
I had time travel accidentally a few times.
Yeah,
too.
it's so funny. And, you know, the bars...
I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's space-time.
It's exactly.
Whatever.
Hey, you're right. Space-time continuum. It's all a continuum, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found myself thinking of movies like Primer and Time Crimes, Everything Everywhere All at Once, even Time Cop, and along with the recent show Dark Matter.
What about the Time Angels?
Oh, I don't know about that.
That was from NTSF SD SUV, I think.
Oh my God.
That's a side group that's in that series, the Time Angels. They're obviously fashioned after Charlie's Angels. But they, do do their thing through time.
Oh my God. I have to watch this. Okay.
I think you saw it. You probably just don't remember it.
Yeah, anyway, maybe.
Yeah, continue.
But yeah, getting back to this, because again, there's so many movies like that, and I've seen so many of them. When I see something in this realm, what I'm looking for is something unique that stands out from what I've seen before. And it's not even a criticism of this movie, because I think it's a good movie. But I did find myself wishing it was a little more unique and dug a little bit deeper, maybe into the sci-fi stuff and the world. There is something refreshing and straightforward about it just being a fix what was broken in her life type of story. But in a genre this crowded, I kept wondering how it could have stood out a little bit more. And there's one moment that happened in the movie that I think sort of goes along with this. There's one part where Mia asks Irene, what makes you different? Meaning from the thousands of other versions she's encountered, in that her character is more dedicated to hunting down the killer.
Gotcha.
And Irene just says, I don't know. And I thought that moment, the answer to that should have landed with a little more weight, but it felt like a throwaway, but also it felt like what you could say about the movie itself.
Yeah.
You know, what makes the movie different? I don't know, you know? But in the end, it's well made. It's well acted. It's a thriller that I enjoyed and was invested in. But I do think, I'm saying this just to say that my enjoyment rating might be a little bit lower because of that.
Well.
So I would love to hear what you thought of it. What'd you think of Redux Redux?
Well, this is one of those movies that I just saw because you sent me the trailer. And I saw it was a parallel universe movie, which I'm pretty much always down for.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know the McManus brothers really by name. I didn't recognize them. And I didn't recognize any of the leads either.
Yeah.
I actually thought I recognized Stella Marcus, which is kind of funny. She plays Mia in the movie. But then I realized she just kind of reminds me of the lady version of Jack Dylan Grazer, that kid who played Billy Batson's friend in the DCEU movie Shazam.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I really had to look it up because I'm like, she really reminds me of somebody. I cannot, I absolutely am not losing it. And I know that I've seen somebody like her who acts like her or has the same face as her. And sure enough, I was able to get that one right. So I felt kind of good about that one. Anyway, oddly, I found out that I probably have come across Michaela McManus on the TV show, since it seems like she's been on a lot of popular TV series.
Oh,
but not
yes.
for
I do remember seeing that on her IMDb.
But yeah, like I mentioned, you brought my attention to the trailer. I had a pretty positive outlook on the movie based on it, mostly because these days I kind of enjoy multiverse movies and shows that are less about the science of things and more about just resolving problems, either by leveraging interdimensional travel towards the effort of, resolving the issue, or the, interdimensional travel being the actual cause of the problem to begin with. But I didn't think too highly of this movie since it didn't seem to have a lot of names I was aware of attached to it. I had the impression that it would be a fairly solid indie film. I thought the plot of the movie was fairly straightforward. I don't know if someone who watches less of these types of movies would feel the same, but I don't think it takes a lot of explanation, nor is there really any aspect of the movie that would push you to really question or desire to know the scientific details.
True.
Like, we aren't really given any info whether the main character, Irene, was ever involved in developing the interdimensional travel, nor the device she's using.
I did wonder, are there just moms out there all over the universe doing this? Yeah.
But while we know she's aware of basic maintenance and operation of the device, I didn't get the impression that she was involved with the development of it. Like, she somehow just gained access to the technology. Luckily, we're pretty immersed in the problem-solving aspect of the plot during the course of the movie, so I felt like that did a good job keeping the viewer from drifting towards any scientific questions. There wasn't much of a cast, and admittedly, I didn't find many of them memorable, really. outside of maybe the three main roles, because everyone had pretty limited screen time. Michaela McManus did a great job as a main character. Irene Kelly, she's a believable mother character, and I felt like she did a great job conveying like a sense of urgency, but also came off as how I had imagined someone who has been spending years living through the same day with ultimately the same results would act and feel. Stella Marcus's Mia was fine, though I found her a bit annoying after a while. Like, I think that was kind of the point of the character, though. So my criticism is really about the character and not her acting. If anything, I'd say she was a good actor because she was playing a certain type of annoying that I could easily say I've come across in my own life. Visually, I think the movie looked fine, though I will say there's many scenes that were shot in the dark or low light. Events of the movie took place in a modern setting, and there weren't a lot of sets or locations that they filmed in, but nothing looked really out of place. There were some aspects of the movie that I felt could have been improved. The machine, I felt, was slightly overdone with the weathering and the sparking and the smoking and stuff. But I did enjoy the implosion effect.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Like when it's jumping through universes, vibe-wise, I felt like this leaned more towards like the thriller side of a sci-fi thriller film. As I mentioned, this movie is probably less about the science, more about resolving problems. Since a lot of the scenes are shot in the dark or low light, I'd also say this movie has generally kind of like a sleepy vibe to it at times.
Oh,
probably a good one for your Sleepy Streamies.
Yeah.
So with that said, moving to the ratings. For enjoyment, I gave it a 3. For quality, I gave it a 3.5. Overall, I think this was an okay sci-fi thriller movie and a fairly original parallel universe idea. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I could have because I had pretty much zero awareness of the people involved in it, but I certainly don't think it's bad. And I've definitely seen movies and shows with much more reputable directors, writers, and actors that have been attached to them that I can easily say were less enjoyable than this movie. So while this movie was enjoyable, I just wasn't particularly excited in the lead up to seeing it. And I don't think it was so unique that I enjoyed it more than I expected. I mean, it was pretty much on point with my expectations. As far as the quality goes, I thought it was pretty good for a low budget film, even though I don't know the exact budget they had for it. But there was definitely a notable lack of polish across the film overall. But no outstanding inconsistencies with the story, production, or acting. So I kind of give it the best that I felt like I could for something that I felt could have been improved otherwise with more time or budget. If you're somebody who's open to seeing genre films that aren't tied to big Hollywood directors or actors and enjoy multiverse movies and shows, this one's definitely worth checking out, I would say.
Yeah.
Though it may not be as exciting or memorable as some other ones that you've seen that are within the same genres.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this is kind of funny. This is the second time we've given the same rating so far this episode. So I also gave it a 3 for enjoyment and a 3.5 for quality.
Cool.
I think, again, my enjoyment is a little bit lower than quality because of the sort of expectations or hopes I have for the genre.
Yeah.
And because, I didn't mention this or even think of it until now, but it was kind of dark.
Yeah, visually. And that makes it, a little sleepier, a little less urgent feeling or something. Yeah.
But for quality, I think it's a good script, good acting, good use of budget. Like, I think that they worked well within what I assume are the budget restraints. So, something I'll definitely look for the next thing that the McManus brothers do, I think. Cool. All right. Okay, so our next movie is How to Make a Killing. So this R-rated black comedy thriller is written and directed by John Patton Ford and stars Glenn Powell as Beckett Redfellow. That's quite the name.
That's a rich person's name right there.
Exactly. And although he is a blue-collar guy, because he was disowned by his billionaire family, he decides that the only way to get what he thinks he deserves is to systematically take out everyone standing between him and a massive inheritance. This movie stars also Margaret Qualley, Ed Harris, Zach Woods, who's fantastic in it.
Yeah, he was good.
Jessica Henwick, love her. And Topher Grace in a very fun wig in supporting roles. And it's equal parts sharp satire, unhinged family feud thriller, or at least that's the intention. Getting into my opinions, I got to say it didn't live up to my expectations. And I think that's because it didn't fully feel like it knew what it wanted to be. Like morally sharp, darkly cynical, or character driven. You know, what is this? And it never kind of committed to one. So the story itself is fun, I think, generally at the beginning. Okay, he's going to take out family members. Cool. But then you start thinking, how? Like any detective, anyone who's watched Law and Order would know it was him. And so that was weird. So you almost feel like you're watching something in an alternate universe, given how he's able to get away with this stuff. There's just no way.
Yeah.
And then the ending didn't feel earned. It swung back and forth between being cynical and then trying to be heartfelt. So you don't know where you're standing. A lot of the character choices felt like they were more convenient than intentional. It was just like they needed something to happen. So that's why it happened. You know, the trailer I thought looked really fun, but I think it's just a premise that maybe can't hold up for a whole movie. And then on top of that, honestly, I was offended by how they wrote Margaret Qualley's character. She's an excellent actress, but they turn her into this shallow shell of a person. You know, none of the things she does make sense. Like, psychologically. And it's like the only way she would behave the way she does is like, oh, is she a psychopath? Like what? But that doesn't seem to be what they want. So it's just, it just felt misogynistic.
Yeah, there was just, I think in general, a lot of confusion, I think, in this movie.
Yeah.
Just like the feel of it. Or it felt like there was a lot of confusion in what they wanted to convey or the vibe that they wanted to.
Yeah. Really did. It was frustrating. It was a frustrating movie. But the caveat being the jokes were funny. There were some really good jokes. And I definitely found myself cracking up, especially, oh my God, Zach Woods.
Zach Woods is great.
Oh, he plays Glenn Powell's long lost cousin, who is a very pretentious photographer.
He is a hipster photographer.
And it is just so good. Like everything he said was gold.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was scripted or if they just let him riff, because
I follow Zach Woods on a couple social media platforms, so I have a feeling a lot of it was just improvised.
Yeah.
He probably just knows people like that, because like even watching it for me, I'm like, oh yeah, that seems like some of the nightlife photography people I know.
Oh my God. It's so funny. But yeah, other than him, he was a highlight. Glenn Powell was fine. He looks really different in this movie. We think it's because
he's very waxed.
Waxy.
Is the best way I can put it. I don't know how else to put it. Because he's shiny and he's void of any facial hair.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like Ken doll vibe. But he's weird. And man, Jessica Henwick is so great. And she is underused here, like she's been in a lot of other things.
And like a bunch of other people in this movie.
I know. Yeah, good cast. But damn, I think ultimately the movie's full of interesting ideas that don't hold together under scrutiny. It was disappointing. And yeah, I was honestly a little mad about how they portrayed the female characters. So I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, I was looking forward to this movie primarily due to Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley being in it. They're two of my favorite actors as of late. Aside from that, I really didn't know much about this movie going into it. The trailer made the plot seem fairly appealing as a black comedy. Some unknown heir to a family fortune needs to kill 7 relatives before he can claim an inheritance. But what really sold me on the movie was the cast.
Yeah.
Because at the time we saw Ed Harris, Topher Grace, Jessica Henwick, Zach Woods, and some other actors I knew. But yeah, after seeing the movie, I don't really have anything notable to say about the direction or writing of the movie, aside from the fact that I haven't seen anything else directed by John Pan Ford. I found out that he wrote and directed the movie Emily the Criminal with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen that. And I found out that this movie was actually based on 1949 British film titled Kind Hearts and Coronets, which I ultimately felt was the aspect that might have contributed to most of the criticisms I had regarding the movie. As far as the cast goes, my biggest criticism overall is just many of them felt underutilized. Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley are solid leads, but I just felt like their characters in this movie were almost tamer versions of some of their characters that we've seen them play before. Maybe not as far as like what the characters are willing to do, but what we actually see their characters do on screen. So like the mannerisms and the degree of craziness that they go to, the lengths, I guess. I think Jessica Henwick, Topher Grace, and Ed Harris were all very underutilized. Both Grace and Harris were probably in the movie for what felt like maybe 20 minutes total. And while Henwick's character gets a decent amount of screen time, her character feels somewhat like an unnecessary motivational factor for Glenn Powell's character in this movie. And I kind of felt like she deserved better.
And much like the other female character, nothing that she did made sense to me. Yeah.
Like, I don't really have anything bad to say about the design aspects of the movie. But then again, I really don't have to say anything because I didn't feel like anything really captured my attention. Aside from maybe how nice some of the yachts and the homes the Red Fellows had in the movie were. Yeah. I mean, they were really nice. Maybe it's just because we've encountered an oddly large quantity of movies over the past few months where I had no context other than the trailer. But ultimately, the movie ended up exceeding my expectation. But this movie really felt like a letdown. I think it could also be that Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley are usually so charming and likable playing characters in other movies they've starred in. But a good portion of this movie sees each of them being miserable and or horrible for pretty much just the sake of money. So that probably didn't help either.
You know what it feels like? It feels like in wrestling when you've got a baby face and they decide they're going to force him to go heel, but it doesn't work for that
doesn't make any sense.
Like, and you're like, this doesn't make sense. They're good at the other thing. Why are you doing this where they're bad at it?
Yeah.
Not that they're bad actors, but it's just not what you expect, and it's not where their strongest suit is.
Yeah. I just think it's funny, though, that in researching this movie after I saw it, I found like a few different resources that mentioned that this was loosely based on Kind Hearts and Coronets. So I looked at the plot of that movie. But what I found that was kind of weird is that there's a claim that this movie is loosely based on it. But in all honesty, after seeing how many of the elements match or parallel ones in the older movie, it really feels like they were trying to do modern day takes on those characters. So I feel like they were making too much of an effort to try to adhere to it or like make it similar to it, which is funny given how much they say it's loosely based.
Yeah,
like,
interesting.
Maybe it was a thing where they didn't plan on having the characters parallel the ones from the original quite as much before, and then they ended up not having enough original ideas, so they ended up adapting more of it too, because it really did feel like they're like, what's the modern version of this type of person? Let's do that. So yeah, I don't think it was loosely based. So
interesting.
Going into the ratings, for enjoyment, I gave this a 2. For quality, I gave it a 2.5. Overall, I think the movie tries to lean too heavily on its usually cool and likable leads, Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley, which works for a bit until you kind of realize they probably wanted to also lean on the rest of the cast, but probably didn't give the right amount of screen time to the right actors to make that happen. I didn't particularly enjoy this movie, though I do feel like the acting talent at least made it tolerable.
Yeah.
The only aspect of this movie that was really enjoyable was Zach Woods' character.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, playing the hipster photographer, Red Fellow, probably just because the portrayal was like amusingly accurate. That alone I think accounted for any positivity as far as the enjoyment went.
Mm-hmm.
As far as quality, wasn't horrible, but it wasn't anything notable. I felt like there's some criticisms I had, like there's a clear attempt to hide bad de-aging with shadows. Obviously, like I mentioned before, underutilizing some of the cast. And I think just an overall lack of bringing anything new or exciting to this genre of movie.
Yeah.
What's kind of funny is after seeing this movie, I was like, well, what would I suggest to somebody to see instead of this? And I thought this movie had a quest kind of vibe to it. So actually what I ended up thinking of, I think if you want to see a quest type movie where there's a similar story where a main character has to overcome like a list of people to reach some kind of personal goal or right or wrong or whatever, see Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is like basically a better version of this. I mean, obviously there's some differences, but I think the general idea of this dude wants to reach this goal, but he has to go through X amount of people is kind of the same. So yeah, that's what I would suggest instead of watching this.
I love it. And that's great. So for enjoyment, I gave it a 2 as well. Again, the highs, like there really were some jokes that cracked me up. Yeah. And again, Zach Woods highlighted the movie. But yeah, the plot was so unbelievable. And it would be cool if it was unbelievable if they played it up to be more campy, you know?
No, I thought it was just trying to be, it seemed like it tried really hard to be edgy.
It did, but it's not an edge.
It's not
more
at all,
of
because
a
it's about rich
campy
people.
concept. Because anyone's suspension of disbelief would immediately know, well, he's the only one who benefits from this.
Exactly.
So he did it, dude. And also, he doesn't do anything to conceal his identity.
Yeah, he don't do that.
Committing these crimes.
Right.
It's insane. So yeah, 2 for quality. I gave it a 2, man. You know, I would have given it higher, but they really did the women dirty on this one. And I can't. I don't like that, slide. Man.
It's cool. I get you.
I don't like that. And when you told me about how it was it from the 40s? Did you say?
Yeah, like 49.
That made so much sense to me.
British and from like 49.
Yeah. So, because I have a real love for 30s and 40s movies where they're highly stylized. There's a lot of witty repartee, you know, and I could see this concept being great in that because it would be more of a satire and it would be sharper and everything that you would think, well, that doesn't make sense, would be the point of it.
Yeah.
That's what this should have been.
Right.
Instead, they tried to make a really unrealistic idea realistic and it just didn't work. So that's okay. We love you guys, Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley.
Yeah, we'll see you in
next
something
time.
else that's better.
All right. So that does it for our movies this week. So, Sush, what do we have going on over on Hijack?
Well, over on Hijack, we're on episode 7. The penultimate episode.
Yeah.
of season 2. Titled Contact. As far as what happens in the episode, we continue with Marcia in the forest. She's got an injured leg. She's hiding from her neighbors as they put the pressure on by bringing some dogs to aid them in the search. We find out that the train was able to escape following the end of the last episode when GSG-9 and Control realized that the hijacked train has escaped. Murnau, who still believes Sam is responsible, and now also that Jess is his accomplice, is notified by GSG-9 that they shot someone, which leads them to reason that only one hijacker remains. On the train, it's revealed actually, though, that both Sam and Jess are alive.
Yay.
But that Jess was shot by GSG-9.
Yay.
Jess strongly believes GSG-9 doesn't take shots by accident and confronts Sam and Otto, realizing authorities were probably tipped off about her. Sam hesitates to admit anything initially, but Otto isn't shy at all, taking responsibility, leading to Sam telling Jess that she didn't really leave them with a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Ada Winter authorizes a raid on the train, still believing that Jess is Sam's accomplice, despite evidence of coercion. Lang pressures Sam and Jess to proceed with a more public, above-ground handover of Bailey Brown and selects Brits Sud, a train yard, as a new location. The train begins losing power immediately after they decide that, due to earlier, explosion damage, which threatens everyone on board. Sam proposes separating the train carriages to isolate the damaged section, which is on the tail end of the train, and to save passengers. Marcia reaches higher ground, and she briefly regains cell phone service and is able to contact Daniel, who confirms that Nick, his friend in the SUV, dead. And just to let him know that she's being hunted by her neighbors. At the British Embassy, investigators access Sam's laptop and continue looking into the person he is in contact with, eventually leading Graham to suspect someone from inside the intelligence community. Prison guard secretly returns a bar of soap from Stewart's cell because they were doing a search there, and she basically just put it in her pocket so it wouldn't get taken in the search. Returns it to him, revealing that she's been working with him.
They're in
and Stewart has assistants inside. Marcia tries to reach Sam, but since she can't, she reaches Olivia because she calls the cell phone and she has it. Olivia records a message from Marcia for Sam, where she's urging Sam to not let himself be used. GSG-9 tracks the train towards Britsud and prepares to deploy. Sam begins moving teachers and the students to the rear carriages as part of the plan after the train separates, so they're able to go home. GSG-9 boards the train in darkness while they're doing this, eventually finding the civilians, the students, the teachers, but also finding that people have died, namely Petra, who's being cradled by her husband as the only casualty from the explosion. During the raid, Jess surrenders, but she's shot and killed. Sam radios control, arguing that stopping him will result in the ones behind everything killing the remaining passengers. So then we see that Ada allows the train to continue the handover, and then Sam just chooses to continue posing as the hijacker to protect Marcia and the remaining passengers by completing the handover mission. And that's it.
Yeah, that was nuts. It was also nuts that they let him just keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
How'd you feel about it?
Okay. Otto is my highlight always.
Yeah.
I love that Jess is like, who told them? Did you tell them? And Otto's just like, yes, we did.
Yeah, man.
You didn't give us a choice. He just was like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you killed Freddy.
I know. I just couldn't believe that they let the hijacking continue.
Yeah.
And also, one thing that I thought was kind of funny is there's a part at the end where the detective's on a plane to abduct, what's his name?
Oh, you mean Marco?
Marco, thank you. I was thinking Marcus.
Yeah, the guy who was switching the track in the first episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when he got on the plane, I was just like, whoa, they have planes and trains in this episode. Crazy. I was so used to only being on one mode of transportation.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But yeah, I didn't have a super strong feeling about this.
Yeah.
I liked that they showed the stuff with Petra and her husband. This is the episode where I realized, hey, why the fuck don't they have a negotiator? You know, like, why do they have people who definitely aren't experts in scenarios like this running things? Don't they have the CIA version, the German CIA?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever that would be. It just seemed like, why are these people handling this?
Yeah,
and why are they doing it with no intention and planning?
I think I say something about that.
Yeah, so that was the main thing that stuck out to me, I think, this episode.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, Sush?
Well, going into this episode, I felt like there wasn't enough time left to completely avoid rushing any aspect of completing the season's plot to the point where I really think like there's only 3 outcomes. 1, the train hijacking storyline finishes with them ultimately preventing the handover from taking place and British intelligence discovering that Lang was involved heavily with everything, but pushes the Marsha storyline to the next season and makes a clear decision to not have it take place or involve a hijacking, actually. But this would probably involve a subtitle after the hijack title. 2, Sam ends up figuring out a way to both stop the handover and ensure Marsha's safety, but has to sacrifice himself in order to ensure a successful outcome. This is really the only way I could see them reasonably wrapping up the show as a whole without having to rely on another season.
Gotcha.
And then 3, something falls through with the handover, but whoever is behind the hijacking decides to continue to trust in Sam as they move on to another form of transportation, setting up yet another hijacking for next season. This is seriously crazy, but honestly, a part of me just wants to see the showrunners take this up as a dare or something, because like, we're at that point now.
Oh my God.
What else? I kind of felt conflicted about Jess's death. On one hand, she killed Freddy, and that dude ended up being pretty all right. And for a moment, I thought him, Sam, and Otto were going to go have a beer together after all this.
I know.
But she had to go and kill dudes, you know? Like, on the other hand, she did keep Freddy from radioing control and potentially ruining the entire situation to the point of no return. But yeah, one thing I do kind of find weird that's related to this is that nobody has really brought up what Otto was offered or promised for his involvement. Like, we know Jess was getting a payout, and we assume Otto is too from the first episode. But we're just going to assume that he'd refuse it if they do end up completing the handover successfully. I don't know. I just find it strange that we haven't revisited that after he was so devastated after Freddy's death. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
Yeah, interesting.
Just something to keep in mind, because maybe it is something that is kind of going to be important for the last episode. I think it's hilarious that Sam really is that good with negotiations.
Oh, hell yeah.
So much that the German authorities are just going to let him continue with the handover of an international criminal. Yeah, like you were saying, they try to at least like have somebody take over for Sam if they felt like someone still had to keep working with whoever was behind all this. I like
that. They could sneak one of their guys onto the train. And
exactly. Or do that.
Yeah.
I like that the show is continuing to work on reveals outside of the main train hijacking plot. Like this episode, it was cool to see the different scenes with Marsha in the forest.
Yeah, I like her.
Daniel and Zara at the police station. Not only that, but also occasionally using the phone conversations as transitions from one storyline to another was pretty cool. Because I noticed that when I was writing my notes, I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's like they're talking on the phone, but then you switch fully over to the other POV. After the phone conversation.
Yeah, that is cool.
That was a good, use of that. I think, as I mentioned in the last episode, I do have more criticisms about the show now that we're closer to the end of the season. This episode, unfortunately, didn't change that, since there were some things that did bother me about it. Biggest complaint is this tendency for the show to just hard cut from the end of the prior episode to some later time, and then just telling us what happened instead of showing us what happened. Like,
right.
I know you shot at Jess as Otto was pulling the train up at the end of the last episode, but how do you keep them from getting on and just taking off?
Yeah.
Like, I honestly couldn't make sense of that, or I somehow missed it,
Yeah.
But it just didn't seem like, because the way it was shot and at the end of the last episode, it's just like, you clearly can see them.
Right.
So what, you're going to wait there for them to continue? Like what, you're not going to run? You guys have guns, like
dude.
What else? Do we really want Jess involved with this all after she's been shot? She's already been questionable as far as where her loyalties lie. But is it even worth her potentially backstabbing you later when you could probably just recruit somebody like May Tan to help you out?
Dang.
Like, with the train part, I don't know. And then also, like, why does Ada consider Olivia's arguments to be on the same level as Murnau's? Like, Olivia's just someone who works at the British embassy, while Murnau is literally the deputy police chief. I mean, I don't like that dude any more than Olivia does, but this is more of a complaint about professionalism and experience. Yeah, weird. I did appreciate that they had someone on the convoy kind of become suspicious of Lang in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish they would have waited longer before he had Lang kill him. Like, damn, you didn't even let him have a potential close call to be found out before you choked the guy to death.
He's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but overall, I thought this was an okay episode, but maybe the weakest one of the season.
Yeah.
As far as what happens in it, it was nice to get an episode that felt a bit longer after the last two felt kind of short.
Yeah,
I felt like it was a bit sloppy. So I just hope they stick the landing in the finale.
Me too.
Yeah, I didn't think there'd be any chance that we'd be this close to the end of the season and wouldn't feel like everything was about to get wrapped up, but here we are. So, all I can do is hope for the best.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. Also, next week, we're going to start with Monarch Season 2.
Yes, I am looking forward to it. Yeah. I watched a couple recap videos, and I think I was about to watch the last episode from Season 1. So,
ooh, awesome.
Maybe I will try to rewatch as much as I can over the weekend or something.
Yeah, we really liked the first season. And we're just all in on Godzilla adjacent properties, like the Japanese ones, the American ones, whatever.
Yeah, we do like Monsterverse for like the stupidity and also like because we have a good TV and it looks really nice.
They look cool.
See cool special effects stuff. I mean, come on, man. It's Godzilla fighting King Kong. Like some shit when I was a kid I would have dreamed of.
Oh, man. Okay, so look forward to that next week.
Ashley, what are we watching next week?
Next week, we're going to be watching the movies Scream 7, K-Pops, and Pillion. Then for TV, we've got that Season 2 premiere of Monarch and the Hijack season finale.
Oh, yeah. So we'll have to discuss in our meeting what the, follow-up for Hijack is going to be.
Yeah.
And then we're going to kick off a month-long segment, Leprechaunathon.
Leprechaunathon!
Yeah, we're going to watch all 8 Leprechaun movies in release order with 2 spoiler reviews per week. So if you enjoyed Jerry, then you won't want to miss this.
Yep. Hey, we're getting Irish with it. And we hope you'll be on the journey with us. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we hope you're having an excellent day.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe, rate, and review, preferably positively.
That would be nice.
Yeah, and also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We also have a Discord, which the info should be in the description once it's ready for everybody to visit. But yeah, other than that, just thank you and hope you guys have a good week.
Have a good one. Bye.
And see you later. Bye.
Movies and delights will share so much.
Let's enjoy this side.